Hello and welcome back to the third season of Behind Marketing Lines. I'm your host Zishan, and the guest that I have today is Mark Hamil. Mark, welcome to Behind Marketing Lines.
Thanks for having me.
I met Mark in 2017, I believe, and back in the day, Mark was the host. I was judging at one of the events that you were hosting.
Yeah.
I still remember. And one of the things that I really admire about Mark is that he was advocating for customer experience before people knew what customer experience was. 2015, I think you started talking about customer experience in this country and globally. So how's the journey so far? How do you see it?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I mean, I've been talking about customer experience since I accidentally fell into it in 2010 when I first moved here,
Right.
when it was probably more customer service focused. But yeah, since then, I mean, customer experience has become a pillar of pretty much any organization, and it has its ups and downs, as you know, as a professional yourself, but definitely more prevalent when it comes to business community, that's for sure.
Perfect. So we have a format. So since we host a lot of marketers here and people who are working very closely with marketers and entrepreneurs like yourself, and the questions will also revolve more around marketing side of things and customer experience, of course, we'll touch upon that too. So there's a pet question that I have. If your life was a Netflix movie, what would be the title and what's the opening scene like?
Netflix. I think for me, it's like I've been an entrepreneur for so long that I think persistence is probably the word I would use the most. Like that's the thing I would say that is most likely to apply to my life. Opening scene, should I say? I think it would just be around childhood, like with my family and school. Like those are the kind of first memories I have. So like that sort of as an opening scene, that would probably be it. Something centers around that, I would say, but nothing too off the wall, but probably something around that, I would say.
Perfect. So persistence is the keyword that I see here.
Yeah.
So was customer experience somewhere there in the childhood memories or no?
I'd say so. I think the country that I come from, people are quite friendly generally. I would say people are quite forthcoming, and everyone likes to talk to each other, which I think isn't necessarily in all countries or cultures that I've met since moving here. So I think that sort of personal touch sort of family environment is something that from a customer experience perspective, I would say is there. But yeah, I wouldn't say there's anything that stood out that it's like some sort of center for world-class customer experience. But I think that element of it, the sort of focusing on humans and listening to people and being able to talk to people, I think is quite important.
Makes sense. And I think that's the crux of customer experience as well, right?
Yeah.
Listening and then being able to respond back as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right. And I mean, you work with so many companies, so many brands. Ever thought about writing a book about all these experiences?
Yes and no, I would say. So the one thing I would say that because of the nature of the awards that we've run over the years, we probably have one of the biggest directories or repositories, whatever you want to call it, of case studies from these companies. So we have toyed with the idea of having some sort of, whether it be a report or regular annual of the best stories. So we have thought about that. So yes and no, I would say. But yeah, that's something that we would love to do. I'm
just trying to dig out the inner creative in you, right? So what is going to be the name of the book if you were to write a book?
The one that we've come up with is probably a bit more boring. It's more like best in class of 2025, for example, or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, I think it's some sort of, if we can make something which is like an annual of best practice, something along those lines, and then that becomes an industry leading publication, that would be something I would love to do if we got the time and resources to do that. But I don't have something remarkably creative to come up with when it comes to that just now.
Right. So I wanted to understand your origin story as well. I mean, I know you landed into customer experience in 2010.
Yeah.
But you also work in a very different space, that is running recognition programs, right? So how did you land into running recognition programs, especially around customer experience?
Yeah, so I came to Dubai straight out of university. So I went to university in England and got my opportunity here with a company called Ethos Consultancy.
Right.
Quite a well-known customer service consultancy in Dubai and Abu Dhabi. And Bob Key CEO is like almost like a grandfather. It hit me for saying that, but a grandfather of customer service in the country.
Right.
Was a business graduate, and I knew I wanted to go into business. And by chance, I did my thesis on customer loyalty.
Oh, interesting.
So that was my, and it related to pricing in different categories was kind of the focus, but fell into that by accident. Really, I never thought that straight out of university studying a business and entrepreneurship with economics degree, I would go
Right.
into customer service consultancy. But yeah, worked there as the marketing manager.
Interesting.
And after a year or so there, started working on as product manager for some of the industry standards, international standards, and then also running events, which part of which was recognition.
Right.
So the challenge that I saw with those events, I think if any consultancy company or any technology company, if they start giving out recognition, they're always like struggle because they have to give them out to their clients.
Agreed.
It becomes a diplomacy rather than recognition exercise. And then there's some awards in the UK, and I thought, look, that seems to be done fairly. Started to research that, and brought that over here. So left Ethos, set up a branch of another company here, and that was it. So straight into anything recognition focused. So we looked at customer experience, business excellence, real estate, sustainability, so around a series of events around those. And then set up Architect Global in 2019, which was a bit more rounded in the sense that we don't just run those recognition events, but we also run a lot more events throughout the year. We have partners in consultancy and training and technology partners, which you can recommend our clients into. So it's a bit more joined up throughout the year rather than just building up towards the big events every year.
Right. Interesting. And you recently started an institute around AI as well.
Yes.
So I think that's pretty interesting too.
Yeah, it's been exciting for us. I think I am very much a layman when it comes to technology. I understand more from what the output is or what the intention of the goal of using it, but in terms of how it works and things like that, I'm not the guy. So
Right.
it's built almost around that ethos where a lot of people are talking about AI, but I think a lot of the language around it is quite either very, very high level from a, deliberately high level so people don't understand it too much, or too scientific so it's too detailed, or too academic, like here is what's going to happen by 2030, which really from a business leader's perspective, I don't think that really, how do you quantify that?
Right.
How do you actually take that
Agreed.
information and implement it? So we built the AI for Business Institute, and that's really to try and make it very accessible for business leaders that aren't that tech savvy themselves. We built some simple frameworks, 9-pillar framework looking how you could actually utilize AI in your business and in different, when it comes to even ethics, customer experience, employee experience, and so on. And then we accredit training programs as well. So we've got some world leading AI specialists that come in. They know, they are technical experts and they can assess companies or assess training programs just to see whether it is fit for purpose. So we've been doing that for about 18 months now.
Interesting.
And then as part of that is the AI World Series. So it's got its own awards program as well, which is awarding the best case studies in AI implementation as well. So I think it's something over the next 12 months, it'll grow quite a lot. We've spent more time on other parts of our business, but now we're shifting focus on that. So that'll be a bigger part of our business going forward.
Awesome. And I've been part of the judging panels in most of your recognition programs so far.
Mm-hmm.
And what I love the most is that it's not another pay to win award.
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
You have to compete.
Yeah.
And you have to bring in your A game.
Yes.
And you have to, compete against the world's best, not only the region's best.
Yeah.
So I think that's one thing that stands out from the rest of the recognition programs that are out there.
Yeah.
So well done.
Thank you very much. And thanks for being part of it as always, like consistently over the years.
Thank you so much. No, actually, I love doing that because number one, you can learn from best practices,
Yeah.
right? Being part of it. Even if you are just attending, listening to the presentations, you get to know, okay, what's happening in the industry.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's pretty interesting.
Absolutely.
You've been doing a lot so far. I think you're running 3-4 different companies right now, and you're part of, a foundation as well. So is there anything more that you're working on? Like, something that keeps you awake at night, and there's something you're really excited about, something that's cooking, something that's upcoming?
I hope there's nothing new that I don't know about anyway, because it is true. There is a lot of things. I think that's enough for now in terms of the companies that we're working on. But yeah, Architect Global, we're very lucky that we have some fantastic clients. We're launching a new brand around, so it's a real estate and prop tech summit
Nice.
and awards.
Okay.
So that's something we're very excited about. We launched that a couple of months ago, and we're very lucky to have some fantastic partners on board as well. So that's kind of the next of our intellectual, let's say, brands we've created from scratch that we
Right.
can roll out as annual events and awards programs. On the AI for Business Institute, that'll start getting more life into it as well, more resources allocated to that. Razor, our consultancy company as well, we've got things going on there. And then the foundation that you mentioned, so I'm part of a charity in the UK, Graham Shapiro Foundation, and that essentially is a charity for aspiring entrepreneurs. So so the philosophy behind it is that it's not a traditional charity, it's more about, there's a bit of risk attached to it as well. So we're giving out to entrepreneurs that don't have access to funds.
Oh, okay.
So it's quite a different way of looking at charity. So yeah, that's something I'm very proud to be part of as well. It's been running for a few years as well. So
Right.
the only other thing I can think of is my wife is setting up a business. So she's
Interesting.
caught the bug. So she'll be setting up like an online fitness business in the next few weeks. So
Interesting. Looking forward to it.
yeah.
You're an entrepreneur and you raise brands from scratch. So do you work with marketers, marketing agencies, or do you do everything yourself? How does that work for you?
It really depends. So we've done things like, for example, the Architect Global brand was built by an agency. Our websites are typically built by an agency, and then we have a team manage those
Right.
in-house. But there's been brands which, like for example, the real estate one that I just mentioned, that is something we've created from scratch. So it just
Interesting.
depends. And then when it comes to our clients as well, if it's something that is very like building a full brand guidelines and something quite comprehensive, we do have agency partners come in and help us that we really trust. So it just depends on the nature of whether, even if it's ours, whether we need to bring someone in, whether we can do it ourselves. We've got a good team that can create, but if it's something very extensive, then we do have partners that we can bring in.
Perfect. And during this journey, I mean, starting in 2010 to 2025, almost 15 years,
Yeah.
what's one lesson that you learned the hard way?
Lesson I learned the hard way. I think it's not done until it's done.
Right.
I think when I first set out, I was maybe a bit too nice, if that's...
Okay.
I don't know whether that's, maybe not too... I'm not suggesting that I'm some sort of commercially adamantly focused person now, but I think just making sure that, when it comes to the sales process, I think that's something,
Right.
like how to make sure that you're getting things over the line. I think that's the thing that I learned the hard way in the first few years as an entrepreneur.
Right.
Yeah, that would probably be the biggest one. So just making sure that following sales process, making sure that things are done the right way rather than assumptions, which can happen. You get too excited about things. So
Interesting. So you started off your career as a marketer, right?
Yeah.
And now you're building brands yourself.
yeah.
So what's one piece of advice would you give to the entrepreneurs who do not have access to a lot of funding, how to build a brand from scratch, and things they should do and things they should not do?
For me, like if anyone is starting out a company and building a brand from scratch, make sure you get customers first before the brand's even made. And if that's possible, especially if you're in the services game, like we've seen it all too many times where someone is an aspiring entrepreneur, maybe has a job in a corporate organization or small business, and then they think, oh yeah, I can go out and do it myself.
Right.
They leave before they have customers. And when I say customers, I mean actually paying customers. There's people leave businesses and they think, oh yeah, those 10 people have said they'll be my client when I leave, but 10% of them maybe would come through. So I would suggest that anyone that is thinking about setting something up, certainly I can only give advice on what I'm doing in terms of like services, professional services. I would say make sure you get clients first and then build it from there. Of course, make sure you have a solid business plan. Think of all eventualities, but making sure you have customers to start with. Brand wise, definitely ask people that would be your customers what they think.
Right.
So asking people, I think, at the beginning, just to get that solid foundation and then go from there.
Interesting. So this is something that I have witnessed over the years as well, is a lot of people come up with an idea which they think would work. Then they build a whole company around it.
Yeah.
They start with the branding and then they go out in the market and then they realize there is no audience, right? Nobody wants that product.
Yeah. 100%.
And then they get into spending a lot on marketing, trying to create that market, and they eventually fail. So I think it's a very good piece of advice that, you should have your audience first, you should have your customers, potential customers first, and then you build a brand around it, offer a service, build a product. Awesome. I like it. Okay. And when you're hiring, right, now that, you get to hire, okay, you started a brand, probably it was a one-man company, then you started building your team. So what do you hire for? Do you hire for skills or do you hire for attitude, mindset?
The beginning, it was probably more, let's say, experience and skills. Now I would say it's attitude. Our team's pretty much stayed the same for a number of years now. But yeah, like we kind of got into it's more psychometrics, let's say, something. So we did start using those tools,
right? And
they made a difference when we were hiring people, because let's say, for example, recruiting for a sales role, the top 3, you get them to take this test, and then you see the one that you thought was the best is actually not commercially driven. So how can they be good? When it comes down to over time, they won't be the best person for the sales role, as an example. So, but I would say attitude, definitely. Like anything that we do, people can learn if they have the right attitude as well. And all of our teams work from home as well. Everyone works from home, pretty much.
Interesting. Okay, that's a good model.
Yeah, we did have an office where everyone was coming into, where all of us were sitting there every day. COVID hit, and then we had to, obviously, like many companies, had to work from home. We just stuck with it, basically.
Right.
But yeah, definitely attitude over anything else. It's the most important thing. Those sort of psychometric tests I was mentioning as well can check whether people are the right fit together as a team. So making sure the team has the right dynamic, and then people have the right attitude, especially to work from home, like they're self-starters, motivated.
Interesting. So you're wearing multiple hats, you're heading multiple companies as a CEO, as an advisor. So I'm curious to know, if we zoom into your day, how does it look like?
Depends. Let's say the average day over the last sort of year, I've taken a lot of attention to actually exercising in the morning.
Oh, interesting.
So that's my thing now.
Right.
I live in Rasselkema, so not far from Waldorf Astoria. Walk there from my where I live and exercise, and then that would be the start of the day. Before that, obviously, get the kids up, or they wake me up, should I say?
Right.
But yeah, in terms of like day to day, working life is very much. I try to not have too many calls back to back. I would try to maybe limit it to like 4 per day if I can, so I can actually get work done in between. When it comes to, like, a lot of my clients are in Dubai, so I'm up here maybe once a week, and then I'll try and have as many meetings on that day. Like today, I've come here directly from a meeting.
Right.
Most of the stuff I do is virtual calls with the team. We have 2 team connects per week, check-ins. Yeah, so that's pretty much it.
Interesting. So sounds like you have automated a lot of things for you. So any productivity hacks, any tools that you would want to recommend the audience that might help them?
The obvious one is ChatGPT, and then Canva as well. Like they're 2 that I use.
Right.
Other than that, not really. Like for me personally, on my day-to-day, I'm not really using it so much. But those are the 2 that I really think help me on a day-to-day basis. Yeah, and then with CRM system and things we use is reasonably basic. But yeah, those are the systems I would use. Nothing major, I would say. Bits of advice.
Awesome. What's one habit that stick with you over the years and that had helped you, being more productive or staying focused?
The one thing I would say is try not to have back-to-back meetings. I think once your mind gets to the point where you're back-to-back, you can't be as productive or have clear thoughts in those meetings.
100%.
And then at the end of those, if you have 3 or 4 in a row, your head's fried. You can't really do anything productive. The idea of actually actioning any of the things after that it's much more challenging. I'm not saying it's impossible. Right. So there's that. And then I think they're just trying to remain calm. Don't let things overwhelm you. Because again, it's the same sort of outcome, isn't it? Your brain can, if you start to get overwhelmed, especially if you're an entrepreneur, you have days which are amazing, days are done, even still we have those days. So yeah, really trying to remain calm if you can. It's easier said than done, but don't let yourself get over that threshold of like being stressed. I think is something that if you can manage yourself to do that. I think that's helpful.
Awesome. So I think people in the corporate world need to hear this, right? Because there are back-to-back meetings for everybody.
Yeah,
And then towards the end of the day, there is nothing done because the day was spent having meetings,
exactly.
right? So I think that's a very good piece of advice. And I think this should, listen to this, let that sink in.
Easier said than done.
Agreed. So we're going to have a rapid fire round.
Okay.
Few quick questions.
Yeah.
So SEO or paid marketing?
SEO for what we do, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Brand marketing or performance marketing?
Brand marketing.
Brand
Yeah,
marketing. Okay. Creativity or data?
Creativity.
Okay.
Yeah.
And startup hustle or corporate structure?
Startup hustle for sure. That was an easy one. Yeah.
Books or podcasts?
Podcasts these days, probably. Yeah. Podcasts.
Okay. And LinkedIn or Instagram?
LinkedIn. I don't have Instagram. Believe it or not. Believe it or not.
AI or human intuition?
Can I say both? I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's one or the other. But yeah, I would say human absolutely is the person that's going to be the one making the decision on whether they're purchasing or not. The people that work for you are human, so absolutely human. But yeah, together.
Right. TikTok Reels or TV ads?
If I'm looking for us, probably TikTok, yeah.
Risk taking or playing it safe?
Risk taking.
I like it. Customer first or product first? I think
Customer first.
customer first, of course. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Do you like Keurig? You've been here 15 years. Have you tried Keurig?
Oh,
Do you
I've
have
tried it
Keurig?
many times, yeah.
Okay.
It's nice. I just don't drink it on a daily basis. I don't drink English breakfast tea on a daily basis either. So, yeah, it's coffee.
So coffee.
Coffee, yeah.
Okay. Early mornings or late nights?
Early mornings, definitely. I have no choice.
Tell me about it. Okay. Mountains or beaches?
Probably beaches. Yeah, I would say beaches.
Reading or Netflix?
Reading.
Reading.
Yeah.
Solo travel or group trips?
Group trips.
Now it's group trips anyways with
Yeah,
kids
that's no
and-
choice as well. Exactly.
Minimalist or collector?
Minimalist.
City life or countryside? I think I know the answer.
Well, I mean, it's country. Technically speaking, it's countryside, right? It has to be. So, yeah. Yeah.
Right. I'm a village by myself, so I like countryside better than the being in a city.
Yeah.
Okay, so we move ahead to a very marketing specific question. So
Okay.
you've done so many marketing campaigns over the years,
Yeah.
right? So if your life was a marketing campaign, what would the tagline be?
That's a good question. Here by accident, but carrying on purpose, probably.
Oh, wow.
So, I don't know. Like, yeah, that's it. Yeah.
You're doing it quite well, so I mean...
Yeah, no, it's like ended up in Dubai. I wouldn't say by accident, but you know what I mean. It's like I came after the financial crisis. There's no jobs in the UK.
Right.
Ended up here and then stayed, left, came back. So I would say that would be it if you're talking about my life.
Right. And do you have a mentor in life or, I mean, somebody you look up to? And what's one piece of advice that they gave you that stick with you?
For me, it's like I already mentioned about Bob Key, who was my first employer at Ethos. So he is definitely my mentor.
Right.
But for me, the thing that he did, apart from just giving lots of advice over the years
Right.
and ideas, but it's just the way he was as a business leader. So he was always first in the office, ahead of
Interesting.
everyone else, always coming up with ideas, empowering people. So, letting people go off and come up with their ideas. And, I think that's someone I really look up to. And then just other business leaders, like I was with Craig Lee today in a meeting before this. He's one of the leaders of CX in the country. And,
Right.
and also some just general business leaders completely away from, let's say, the marketing and CX world and
Right.
the nice stuff that we do, like in real sort of industrial businesses. And I always find it fascinating to hear they focus on the customer as well, ultimately. But if you ask them what customer experience was, they would never
Right.
even have heard of it. So I think that's quite interesting. But yeah, these are the kinds of
Right.
people I listen to, like people that have been there, done it.
Awesome. So what's one piece of advice that you ever received and you would want to pass it on to the future generations, right? I mean, people who are aspiring marketers, aspiring CX professionals, who are just getting started.
I think it's two different things. Like for marketers, I think for me I really see a huge dissociation between the understanding of or how marketing is taught and what is the purpose of marketing. I think that is
So true.
the big dissociation. So like I think that they think that marketing is like a separate industry within the business when actually it's there to support the business. And I don't think that, and particularly with tech companies, like the tech companies I've dealt with over the years, the marketing department is like an alien being within the company. They don't speak to salespeople. They just follow metrics. They don't really understand the customers. They don't know what they're selling, but their targets are to grow numbers on this or do X, Y, Z. But
Right.
I think just if you're a marketeer, make sure that you're focused on understanding what the business does, why it does it, what the products are, deep knowledge of that, and being able to manage across the business, to actually speak to people, the other employees, rather than just being this box that's kind of within the company. I think that's important. And then CX obviously fits, sometimes reports into marketing, but for CX, I think it's kind of at a crossroads as an industry somehow. It's gone from being talked about a lot more and a lot more funded for the, let's say, the softer parts of CX, but a lot of that budget I see is going more to the actual technology part. So I think if you're getting into the CX, going down the CX route, I think you need to be able to manage across the business as well, be able to talk up and down in the company. I think that would be something. So almost learn sales skills to sell your ideas. And then also, of course, ROI is the main thing if you're going to be a CX leader. But I think the real sort of just focusing on the science of CX is diminishing, like just focusing on journey maps or just focusing on CSAT or just focusing on NPS. I think that's really diminishing. So yeah, understanding business more, how you can manage up, down, sideways in the business, communication skills, I think are important for a CX leader.
100%, I totally agree. And we have had some really interesting conversations here on this set with some sales leaders, some marketing leaders, marketing and sales, working in silos.
Yeah.
So we tried to debunk some of the myths, some of the things. We tried to bridge some of the gaps between marketing and sales.
Yeah.
But now I see that CX is coming up as a separate unit in many of the organizations, right? And if CX is working in a silo, like marketing used to work back in the days,
Exactly, yeah.
then there is a problem because, okay, you can have all the frameworks of the world, but if nobody is implementing those in their daily lives, and who is supposed to implement those?
Yeah.
Sales, customer service, right? Claims teams at many places or any customer facing stuff,
Yeah.
be it online, be it offline, somebody needs to hear the customer in order to understand and then respond.
Yeah.
But that's not happening. CX is, saying that, okay, we have brought this framework and, we have done these trainings and we have won these awards as well. But at the end of the day, when you look at the grassroots level, there is nothing. No one understands.
No one's accountable for it as well, right?
100%.
Yeah. No, I agree.
I think that silo needs to be broken down and this all needs to become a habit for everybody in the company because a marketer needs to be a sales guy, as you very rightly said, right?
Yeah.
And a sales guy need to understand marketing, work with the brand and understand what goes on. Yeah. Why are we doing what we are doing? And I think same applies to the customer experience professionals as well.
Yeah.
Luckily, this role is overlapping a lot with marketing. And the marketers get to work very closely with the CX professionals. But I think the other customer-facing staff, especially the salespeople, need to work more with the customer experience teams. Yeah. This is what I've seen happening in the industry.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think part of that, which is kind of just going back to sales, which I find really fascinating, and I've still not found any examples of it, but certainly when I was at university doing business degree, sales was not taught at all. I don't know any business has sales within it as well, even though it's arguably the most important part. So if sales isn't taught, then they won't teach you marketing people, how to deal with sales people or the sales function. So I always find that fascinating. It's like everything's taught, but sales function, which is interesting. So if you find a university course that does teach sales, let me know, but I haven't seen anything.
No, you're very right. I mean, I have 2 degrees in business myself, and we never taught sales.
Not even one module?
Now that when you're saying it, I mean, I can feel it. And that is why we see that, you learn every skill, but you don't know how to sell that skill.
It's the most important bit in business.
Agreed.
If you don't sell, you're out of business. Simple as that. So I always find that fascinating. It's like, when are we doing sales? Oh, there's no sales module.
So I think there is a big gap for a sales institute next after the AI institute that you have created.
There are ones out there, certainly. But yeah, I still think that, even good sales trainers are few and far between. But yeah, I think that part of it, just more like from a structural level, if that's taught in universities, then there'll be more about how marketeers can deal with the sales function. And I think that would be interesting. And then CX as well, of course.
Perfect. So, thank you very much, Mark. It was a very interesting conversation. And thank you for all you have done over the years for the customer experience as an industry, as a field. And it was a pleasure talking to you, exchanging notes. A lot of our audience are aspiring entrepreneurs, aspiring marketers, aspiring CX professionals. Mm-hmm. So I believe that the pieces of advice you shared will definitely stay with them and they'll be able to learn from it and hopefully implement it as well.
Brilliant. Thanks for having me, Zishan. I appreciate it and all you're doing for me as well.
Likewise. Thank you very much.